Hello everyone, welcome to our first grammar class for compétences écrites anglais. This is an LEA, this is to be considered the introduction to how to really write and understand English, written English. This is an introduction of how to approach this, as a first year class for LEA students. So with a focus on grammar, right? We're going to try to not lose sight of the real English that we speak, that we write, that you might hear on the radio, and the reason really why people speak or write the way they do, right? So one way to think of it could be to think of it as in sort of an applied grammar class. That I think that might be the best way, and you should just know that we're going to be focusing on the verb or the verb phrase. What verb forms we use to express certain ideas, right? And I'm not gonna. Well, I'm gonna have. This is gonna be just a very short video. This video here is to sort of give you an overview of how we're gonna do this. But then there will be two additional videos that will be really sort of what we might call the first lesson. We're gonna have a first video on sort of the verb forms, the different verbal constructions that we use in English, and then there will also be another video that is going to be about the present simple and the present continuous. So that'll be sort of a more right away. We're going to kind of get specific, right? But I just want you to keep in mind that it's really going to be a course in applied grammar. So what are we going to do? We're going to do some work on sort of translating. When you express certain ideas in French, there might be problems with saying certain sentences in French that you might say in English. For example, in French you could say j'ai cette voiture depuis un an, and so you might sort of without really thinking about it too much, you might translate j'ai cette voiture depuis un an to the sentence I have this, and you can't just translate word for word, right? So that means, and this is all about the difficulties in that verb phrase, j'ai, right? That's just présent simple, right? So you think, ça devrait être le présent simple en anglais, mais non. Donc l'idée, c'est qu'il faut essayer de comprendre pourquoi et quelles sont les formes qu'on utilise dans ces cas de figure. Donc on peut dire que c'est une réflexion sur la langue, mais c'est vraiment le but, c'est surtout de faire en sorte que vous comprenez cette langue, d'accord, et que vous faites les choix à bon escient, right? You have a greater awareness of the different verb forms you can use, and and then you become, it's much clearer in your head what we mean when we use one verb form as opposed to another. Okay, so that means we are going to do some work on, as I said, translating sentences like j'ai cette voiture depuis un an. And you're going to learn that we would say I have had this car for a year, and you'll understand why. Right now, I'm sure that that's a pretty difficult sentence, actually, much more difficult than we would think. It will make sense later. This type of sentence, right? So we're gonna work on that. We're going to have a lot of sort of what we might call grammar exercises, where I ask you to sort of have a sentence in the present. I'm going to have to ask you to write it maybe in the past or in the negative version, the version of an affirmative statement that might be a question, for example. So we're going to do these sort of manipulations to existing sentences. We'll have you fill in blanks. So we're going to do sort of exercises, right? We're also going to look at texts, not very much, but a little bit. We're going to sort of look at, a newspaper article and sort of try to understand it and sort of realize why the writer has used one verb phrase instead of another, things like that, right? And finally, I should say, we will work on writing. We're going to ask you to, write your own sentences, write your own paragraphs. That really should be considered, as the ultimate goal of this class to really help you to write English better, because it's a reminder, you're English specialists, right? And as English specialists, you it's very important that you have a sort of, I would say, sort of a calm sense of what this language is that you're studying, and that you're not you sort of you possess this language, and that's one way to do it. We will be meeting in person shortly, in a week, and at that time I will go over, I will probably perhaps go more into detail about sort of the philosophy of the class, and with other examples. But for the time being, watch the following two videos on verb forms and the simple present and the present continuous. Thank you very much.